Hi, everyone, and welcome to Soap Scoop, the Inside Soap podcast. And coming up today, we've got a life-changing decision for Penny in EastEnders, a new alliance forming in Emmerdale, and some secretive newcomers who are making their mark in Coronation Street. But first, we did a whole special episode last night, so if you haven't watched that, please go and watch that now. Johnny, I know you're still reeling from Coronation Street.
Reeling. If you're only listening to this, I am putting my hands up to my face like a shocked face emoji. Yeah, so we now have a bit more info on 2026's most bonkers murder mystery. So it's not a whodunit yet, although it will be. It's a who is it. Corrie did tease earlier in the year there's going to be this flash forward, because who doesn't have a flash forward every week, so it seems. And yes, someone will be dead by April. The minute those clocks go forward, that's it. Someone's going to buy it. Now we know who the final five are. It's like X Factor, though. I feel like it's a really bad judges' houses, except it's the final five who might be murdered.
Yeah, it's all kicking off at the Swarla wedding.
I know. I'm not going. If I get an invite to that wedding, I'm not going, because I do not want to be added to that lineup of who might die. So just resist if you get an invite, fans, to that Swarla wedding, because it might not end well.
Yeah, it might end up being Soap's most dangerous wedding this year.
Yeah, Red Wedding. Game of Thrones is going to make that look like The Sound of Music.
Well, we've got a whole episode digesting all the potential suspects, potential culprits, potential dead bodies. So go and check out that episode. But let's delve into the upcoming episodes that we're going to be looking at today. Johnny, should we start with EastEnders?
Yes, I'm very excited, because Penny Branning, who I think is like massively underused, I think Kitty plays her is great. She's finally got a storyline, yay! And she's unexpectedly pregnant. Ooh, good news. I'm not sure. I don't really feel like independent lady Penny really had a baby on her to-do list for 2026. I'm sure she'll make a great mum, whatever. I just don't feel that was in the plan. But then all the best soap pregnancies are unplanned and, not the news anyone wants to hear. So, yeah, so Penny's preggers. But there is a bit of who is it? There's a Sunday lunch at the Brannings. There's a pregnancy test found. Jack and Talise are like, whose is this? Oi, whose is this? A little bit insensitive. But yeah, it turns out to be Penny's. So a storyline at last.
Yeah, we're absolutely thrilled Penny's finally got a storyline. It's been deserved. She's been on the show now for a few years with little to do. You mentioned Jack there, putting his foot in it, and I'd say, oh, Jack, what are you doing? Typical Jack, being massively insensitive and just always managing to say the wrong thing. We love him as a character, but he does manage to just say the thing that you're like, don't say it.
Do we love him as a character? Chloe, do you love him? I do love. He's a Branning. He's a bit of an EastEnders institution. I'm getting a bit fed up with Jack, because I can't remember the last time he did the right thing, to be honest. And we had to vote for who should Denise be with and all of that. I must say I was more Team Jack than Team Ravi. I like that blended family, but I think what I like about that blended family is Denise and the kids. Jack is constantly making things worse. So people need to call him out. I feel like Penny and him are going to have some disagreements and some clashes with this pregnancy story. But don't you feel like Jack's everyone's excusing quite insensitive and kind of silly behaviour?
Yeah, I when I say we like Jack as a character, I think it's fair to say that we don't want our characters to be perfect all the time, and we don't mind if they slip up and say stupid things and open their big mouth. Penny and Jack have got some really great father-daughter conflict. We know they've got such a complex past. Jack was behind Penny's accident, which left her paralyzed, and so there's obviously a lot to unpack there, which they've already kind of dug over a little bit, but this is now going to affect her life more, because she potentially is going to have a baby. Being a single mom in a wheelchair is going to present multiple challenges. I think Penny is a great character, and I think what this storyline will do, hopefully, is it's not a usual storyline that we've seen many times. I know Hollyoaks have covered a character, Courtney, becoming pregnant. She was a wheelchair user, but it isn't a story we see. And I think, although some people might think, oh, another pregnancy, and another independent female character getting pregnant by accident, we're kind of thinking of Penny as a bit of a party girl. She's there going and getting her vodkas and all the rest. Why does she need a baby? But I actually think it's such a fresh storyline and such a fresh take on something we've not seen before, or not seen very often. So I think it's definitely worth telling for that reason.
Yeah, and also just to correct you, obviously, spicy margarita for Penny, not a vodka. Obviously, nothing while she's pregnant, I'm sure. But yeah, spicy marg, thanks. I mean, that's what got her into this kind of predicament anyway. Vinny buying her the spicy margs at that weird old, what is it? That field
Container Junction.
Sorry, I know I'm not a young millennial. If someone took me to Container Junction for a spicy marg, I'd want a nice pub with walls and a radiator.
Going out in February or January, whenever it was a bit of a choice, I have to say.
Absolute choice. And look where it got her.
What do we think of the Penny and Vinny relationship? Obviously, it's just started.
Well, again, Vinny, I feel, has been a bit in the shadows for a while. He just kind of does Suki's bidding, doesn't he? All we've seen him do recently is tell off Honey and Bee for their Minute Mar antics. And yeah, he's just kind of nodding and smiling, saying yes, mum, a lot of the time. But he's a great character and loads to explore with him and the background. And yeah, he's kind of been under everyone's thumb. He's kind of, seen as a bit of a joke in the Panesars family, isn't he? And he was used by Dottie terribly all those years ago when he was with her. But I love the actor and I think the character's got such potential. So yeah, I like that Vinny is, involved with Penny in this way. I do think mummy issues. He obviously
and daddy issues.
Mummy and daddy issues. But let's talk about Vinny's mummy issues. He likes a strong, slightly bossy. Looks like they're all calm and they've got it together, but actually a little bit chaotic and volatile. And you don't know what they're going to do next. So and this is intentional, I guess.
Are you trying to say that he's found a lover that's like his mother?
I mean, you said those words, Chloe. I feel like he's got a type, and I feel like it's nature nurture. I also feel it does give us great scope for drama in the relationship, because we don't want either of them to just settle down and be all cozy, happy. Yeah, Penny could eat him for breakfast, but also I think he's got a lot of love to give, but he's got a lot of unresolved issues about his own family, about his own childhood. I feel like he would want to be a good parent because his parents haven't been particularly great. Penny can obviously share that, but his dad was niche. Come on, like he really knows how not to raise a child. But also, his dad was niche. So what is going to happen when he has his own child? Like, I don't know. There's everything to play for. But I'm pleased that I kind of called this a little while ago when it looked like when they were flirting, they had the odd hookup. And I was like, I really hope that goes somewhere. I really hope we see more of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know he gets a lot of flack, but I think he's good looking. He runs businesses. He's intelligent.
He's a good investment.
Yeah,
he's a catch,
he is.
Man.
He is a real catch. Yeah. And, I'm really interested to see them together. I know we've got a brilliant interview with Kitty in today's issue of the magazine. And she talks a little bit about kind of why Vinny and Penny make a good couple.
Yeah,
I love what she said about them. Kind of that Penny is almost like pushing Vinny to be the bigger man and stand up for himself, and he's teaching her how to be kind of a little bit softer, and I love that.
But I also am loving the prospects of Penny v Suki, like meet the parents. How about that? How's that gonna go? That is another aspect of this that I am absolutely here for.
Well, I mean, I can give you this, that Jack is not thrilled that she's got a Panesar baby in the oven.
I bet, because that adds more complications, obviously, with the links between those families. So and that's the thing, isn't it? You get pregnant in soap. You're having two families' babies, because families, what it's all about in Wolford. So when two families are united with the imminent joy of a child, it just means more fighting. Because it's EastEnders and it's families. So, bring that on.
It's going to be a great week. It's got lots of fun stuff with the Brannings. We've got Oscar getting involved. He's the one that actually drops the bombshell to Vinny. So that's going to be good fun. Lauren obviously being there as the supportive cousin. I can't help it. I just love the Brannings so much.
Yeah, and there's lots of different personalities within the family. There's a good... because EastEnders, again, it's kind of all about the strong women, the matriarchs. Let's be honest, Lauren, I've said this before in the podcast, Lauren is in her young Pauline Fowler phase, and I mean that with every respect. She's a matriarch in the making, and you've got Amy, the kind of young generation, and now you've got Penny with something really gritty to her teeth into. Denise, as Jack's wife, is we all love Denise, and she's such a boss in that family. So there's a lot of good of it. The Brannings in the past had more of a kind of macho grunting male energy for a while. You know, we had Max and Jack and Derek. But let's not forget the OG Branning was Carol, the tiger mum of all tiger mums of soap. You know, Dot was obviously a big part of that family. So yeah, it's kind of turning back to the strong women and the matriarchs, which I'm really liking. And also, I just love their squabbling because it's more light-hearted. I think with the Mitchells, like if Sam and Phil are like sniping each other, it's quite nasty. It gets really personal, and they're always bringing up their issues, da-di-da. But, you know, Oscar, Lauren, Amy, Penny, their sniping is more like, I guess, David and Sarah Platt, that very believable brother-sister, just like nipping at each other. But it's not always about, you know, the big family issue. It's not always about unpicking your trauma. It's just poking fun at your sibling because that's what you do. And I really like that with the Brannings.
Yeah, and you mentioned there about, you know, the blending of Denise and Jack. This is why, as much as we maybe don't love Jack as a character, or we're bored of him, or whatever the situation is, we need Jack and Denise to stay together because we love their blended family together.
Yeah, they can't split up really, can they? Because that
No.
would mean the end of this kind of setup. Don't get me wrong, I feel like I hated on Jack a bit earlier. I just feel he needs calling out. I feel like, and even Denise has got fed up. Denise just rolls her eyes and huffs and goes, well, what's the point of telling him? No, Jack gets stuff wrong. Tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do like, yeah, it's good for them to kind of be together. Although that flash forward, where was Denise? Were Jack and her even together? I don't know what's going to happen between now and December 31st / 1st of January.
Well, we might have a clue now as to who that baby is.
So there was a baby, wasn't there, that Jack was seemingly left in charge of. But where was Penny? If this is Penny's child, where is Penny? Please put missing posters up for 2027. Or maybe she was just having a lie-in because she's got a newborn baby.
Or she had a hangover after her spicy margs.
I think she's back on the spicy margs. You know, now the bubba's popped out. Good on her.
Right, well, we're going to move on now to the Dales, where we've got the return of our favourite new character, Dark Arthur.
Yeah, it's the evil Sith Lord himself, Arthur Thomas.
What are you feeling about this new turn of events for Arthur, Johnny?
I kind of called it, I have to say, like obviously the Revelation week. Yes, that's still a thing, Revelation. That Arthur and Laurel's dynamic obviously really took a dark turn in that week. And Arthur, like, this massive go at Laurel for bringing loser after loser into their lives since his dad died. Blamed Laurel for like putting the whole family in danger. Obviously, things got physically violent, and Laurel hit him in a regrettable moment of madness. But it kind of set the tone, and Arthur got so angry this week. Yeah, he kind of is responsible for Laurel being hospitalised after they have a huge row, and he accidentally shoves her down the stairs, and oops, and she's knocked unconscious. And I feel like this is the start of a kind of parent to child to parent abuse story that Stopes have done in the past. Obviously, Enders did it fairly recently. Kat and Tommy had their issues. It's a really tough topic to tackle, and it's really interesting. Yeah, Darth Arthur. This is only the beginning. Poor Laurel, but it's a good way also of making the whole Ray thing count properly. I feel like Laurel and Ray's relationship was really interesting, but when you consider the wider story of Ray and the slavery and Bear and April and everything, I feel like the Laurel story felt almost like not the biggest part of it at the time, and could have gone on longer. I think could have started earlier and gone on longer. What I love about this is that there are real repercussions of Laurel and Ray's bad romance. You know, if this is going to be, you know, Arthur and Laurel having, you know, things getting violent there, it's because of Ray. So the legacy of that plot now gives them a whole other plot, and also gives little Alfie Clarke, who's been in that show since he was like 2.
Little Alfie, he's now 18.
He's 18 foot as well. He and Charlotte Bellamy plays Laurel. There's a chat with her in Inside Soap out today where she says he's now 18. He doesn't need a chaperone anymore. He's been on the show since he was like 2 or 3 years old. His mum has been by his side all the time. And now he's 18. He doesn't legally need a chaperone at work because he's not a child actor anymore. And she says it feels so weird, like he's played her son since he was little, and he's now been kind of given this like huge story. But Emmerdale do that really well, I think. Like, oh, you know, we've watched many a soap kid grow up, haven't we, on screen? And obviously people like Natalie Cassidy and Eden Taylor Draper. Often kids are recast at various stages for various reasons. But Emmerdale, I feel, recast less. Like, you look at Amelia Flanagan, and now, Alfie really coming into his own. They really invest, I think, in their kind of younger cast and remember what they've been through. And when they get old enough to like handle the bigger material, they kind of honor their character's legacy. I think they're doing this with Darther. Can't say it, Chloe. How do we say it? Darther.
Just Dark Arthur.
DA.
When I saw the picture of Laurel lying at the foot of the stairs, it just made me think there have been so many storylines of people being pushed down the stairs, and it definitely gave me like Gail Platt vibes, you know, when she did a tumble.
Absolutely. A tumble? That was David pushing her on purpose. Like, at least this is an accident.
Well, yeah, accident. You know, there's still an element of, is there going to be, like you say, a kind of progression of this storyline? And I wonder whether we're going to go full kind of David Platt with Arthur, or whether it's going to be a bit more kind of subtle, whether he's going to have a change of heart. Because, you know, he's got his big sister there, Gabby. I'm hoping that she might spot some signs if there was a progression from his behaviour. But obviously, she doesn't live with them anymore. She's got her own life. So it's kind of harder for her to step in. But I think I've seen a lot of people online being quite excited at the prospect of Arthur getting a storyline, because I think he's been the fan favourite since, like you say, he was a little boy. He's always been at the heart of Emmerdale and at the heart of so many storylines. You know, who can forget that his life began on the show with that baby swap storyline and the cot death, and then obviously Ashley and Laurel discovering that their child had been swapped and all that drama. I mean, he's never been short of drama, has Arthur. So it's exciting that even now as an adult, he's getting to be involved in some really kind of important and juicy plots.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, what's Laurel going to do? It's kind of hinted this week, but is Laurel going to admit what happened and how she ended up in hospital? Like Charlotte Bellamy says, I reckon Laurel would not want people to think badly of her son and, oh, it was an accident. Oh, well, actually, it was my fault because it's all my fault that Ray came into our lives. That's why Arthur's so angry. That's why we got into a fight. That's why I fell down the stairs. But where's this going to end? You know, I feel, Laurel is, if this gets worse and she's hiding, you know, Arthur's kind of angry streak. And also they're kind of isolated now. Like I say, Gabby's in her mansion. She doesn't give a stuff about her stepmom and her brother. Like, she barely really has much to do with them. Her eyes are on that home farm prize. And and now, if you know, Laurel is a single parent, and also, like, I know they kind of sorted it out, but her friendships with like Rona, Marlon, they've got to have been impacted by the whole mess of the slavery and the county lines drug thing, and how Marlon and Rona didn't tell her how dangerous Ray was. I feel like Laurel is shutting people out a bit. She's a bit embarrassed and a bit ashamed. She is isolating herself, and that, I mean, I guess it's all deliberate. That puts her in quite the position if Arthur is going to go down this kind of route. Who can Laurel turn to? She's become a bit lonely. So,
do you know who she could turn to that I'd forgotten about until I saw pictures of the very miniature Ray funeral? Do you remember the little things she had with Charles?
Now, how far did that go?
They had relations. They had relations.
He's lonely, isn't he? He's a man of God. She's got a type.
She has got a type.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
It's just a thought. I mean, I quite thought they had a bit of chemistry, a bit of spark. I mean, I'm not saying I think Laurel needs a little bit of a break from men at the moment. Having, you know, her taste is a bit questionable, but you know, we can trust Charles. I think Charles is, a suitable candidate. But then she does get Claudette in the package with that, so that could be an issue.
Yeah, Claudette wouldn't like it. Yeah.
We did tease in the beginning of this episode that we're going to talk about a brand new alliance that is forming in Emmerdale this week. So we have to talk about that. It all kicks off this week because there is danger on the farm, disaster on the farm for poor Cain, as if he needs it, as if he needs some sheep getting trapped in a barn.
As if life wasn't hard enough. And now that even the sheep have got it in for him. I mean, illness, wife in prison, life falling apart, and now sheep. He might as well just put his head under the duvet and not bother getting up of a morning.
No, because he's got to fight for the farm. Okay, you know how passionately I feel about the farms.
Yes, Chloe, I know how passionate you feel about the farms. I feel like the dramatic potential of the farm is being really, really rinsed at the moment.
I love it
because of you,
though.
they're listening to what the public wants.
They're finally listening. Okay, we wanted more farming. We wanted more
I'm
sheep.
sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry, people. I mean, I love Emmerdale because it's out on a farm.
No,
and the farming
Johnny,
aspect.
have to stick to the roots of Emmerdale, okay? What is the Emmerdale's USP? Countryside, rural, farming. They may have got rid of the farm from the title of Emmerdale Farm, but at its heart, it is set on a farm. And I refuse to lose that from the show.
I love the fact that farming comes into it, but I'm just going to say 1989 was when it had the farm in the title. Can we move on? Like, I don't want too much farm. It's like
no, we haven't had enough. We haven't had enough. Okay, one of my favorite episodes. One of my favorite episodes last year was the episode where it was Ross and Matty versus Robert and Victoria just running around chasing sheep. Like, one of my favorite episodes. It was so funny. It was genuinely, if you looked online, those people will agree with me. It was really funny.
I must say, I did enjoy the unexpected impaling of Sam Dingle at Emmerdale's 50th, which was
I did not enjoy was it cow cam? Whatever the cow cam, whatever it was. Do you know what we had last week, which I don't think we've had for a while? Bog cam, toilet cam. We had vision from a toilet upwards with Tracy and Robert pouring John's ashes into the toilet.
And so we did.
I love it. I mean, we talk about experimental camera angles and, you know, special episodes. No one advertised toilet cam, did they? No one said watch on Thursday for a special episode where we're, you know, from the perspective of a toilet. That was what it was all about.
We didn't get that press release.
No, where was that? Where was that in, you know, the soap scoop and, you know, but the main news of the week?
We didn't have that, no, sad.
I am passionate about the farm, and so is Cain, okay? And if Cain is passionate about the farm, then so am I.
Well, Cain's just projecting because he's got bigger... What Cain should be doing is trying to get more out of prison and listening to the doctors and listening to his granddaughter. The farm is just a distraction from all the drama.
I feel like they are fighting a losing battle against the Tates at the moment. Like,
oh, completely. I mean, they've got them over a barrel.
Joe is the slipperiest man in that village, and, you know, the way he kind of, you know, blackmailed the Sugdens and slithered in there. I mean, I love the guy. I think he's a great character, but he is just getting away with it. And I just feel like Cain hasn't got the time to be dealing with the Tates, and that is when we get our new alliance forming this week.
So Cain has got a new friend, and that friend appears to be Graham. Cain and Graham joining forces. First of all, what's Liam going to say? Because as far as I'm concerned, Cain's already got a posh, unlikely best mate, and that's Dr. Liam, who actually worships the ground Cain floats above, doesn't he? Like, he just loves him. I think he wants to be him.
They did have a argument about potatoes, though, last week.
Yeah, they did. So maybe that's why Cain's gone looking elsewhere for another BFF. But him and Graham, like, I feel it's unlikely. But what's Graham got to offer Cain?
I mean, you know my feelings on Graham. What has Graham got to offer Cain?
Or anyone, for that matter.
Or anyone.
Apart from convoluted stories about how to hold your breath for 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, why doesn't he teach Cain how to pretend to be dead for 6 years? No. We need to move on from the dead thing because it's so silly. But no, Graham and Cain have had a lot of beef over the years, and I've covered it in this week's magazine, where kind of what their history is in terms of their general arguments and vibes. They had this big fight where Graham was doing his SAS kung fu or whatever it was on Cain in the field, and yes, it was all very very silly. But yeah, they're forming a kind of an alliance this week. Kim, as you would imagine, is not best thrilled. But Graham is quite sympathetic towards Cain's plight because he discovers the letter from his oncology department and then realizes that, you know, Cain has got way too much to be dealing with. But obviously Kim misinterprets this and says, you know, Graham, if you're on the side of the Tates, you're going to have to go and sabotage some machinery at the farm. So this could be the end of this beautiful friendship already.
Well, I think Liam's going to be pleased about that. And I'd much rather Cain be friends with Liam, really. And I don't trust Graham. Like, I really don't. And yeah, they've got the beef. It's interesting to explore that past with, you know, when Joe and Debbie were on and off. and Graham were very involved in that kind of era, but I don't trust Graham, and I just feel like Cain's got enough going on. Graham brings chaos wherever he goes. I don't think Cain needs any more, and I think Graham can only cause more farm chaos for, so
I think you're right to say you don't trust Graham, because I think one minute he's kind of acting as Joe's conscience, but the next minute he's saying like, I'll always support you. And so it's a bit like, well, you know what the Tates are doing, and they're trying to basically destroy several families, but you're just happily going along with it. Or you're kind of like, he was the one that encouraged Victoria to leave the village. Without that, would she have even gone?
Yeah, don't trust him, and but then I guess they're two really good characters, so they would think, why not put them together in a storyline? Why not have, two, I mean, I say good characters, I know you're not the biggest Graham fan, but yeah, what's Graham's goal? I think this is what we're starting to really question. He's saying it's all about Joe, it's all about Rona, who he still really, cares about, but I don't know. It's not the end. How's Cain figuring into this? I don't know. I feel like I need to see it, let this story play out for a bit before I give my true views, because I need answers.
Well, there's definitely going to be more movement, I think, in terms of like the Tates and the farm, and which obviously makes me very happy. Maybe you less though, but me happy. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But talking of kind of mysterious people who we don't know what their motive is, let's move over to the Coronation Street, because we've got a couple of newcomers, well, fairly new people to the street in Jodie and Mal, who, I mean, I'm loving both of them, because basically I'm watching Coronation Street being like, what is going on? Who are they? And what are they playing at? I think they're both characters where I'm kind of almost eagerly excited to read what's coming next to them, because I just don't know what their game is.
I'm really unsettled by both of them. I think particularly Mal. I find Mal quite really creepy, and really just that guy who like won't leave the party.
Oof, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have like some friends around, have a bit of a gathering, and then this other guy's there like, oh, he's a friend of a friend, and then he's the last to leave.
And he's standing in the kitchen just staring at you.
Just staring like, got any more booze? Or like, oh, like these crisps. Go away. So I do get unsettled vibes from Mal, but it's really entertaining. And Jodie, like, what to make of Jodie? Like, I thought, oh, Shona will explore her past. She'll have a sister. It'll all be fine. Little did we know, she's absolutely crackers. And I don't trust anyone this week. I really don't trust Jodie, but I am nervous. I'm getting to the point where, is Jodie even Shona's sister? What if she's just this con artist who has dyed her hair or got a wig? Some reason she's just obsessed with Shona. And Shona hasn't seen her in like years. Is she even who she says she?
Well, it was curious when she was with her dad, because he seemed, from my perspective, like quite nervous around.
Yeah. Oh, he was scared, and wasn't he shouting like, "Don't trust her, don't trust her"? Yeah.
Yeah. There's and we had a great letter this week from one of our readers that said they're wondering whether Jodie's going to be Coronation Street's version of Mina from Emmerdale.
I can see that.
I don't know whether she'll be quite as unhinged, but I could definitely see her moving in on the plats and going through each of them and trying to take each one down by exploiting their vulnerabilities. Or
yeah, she's really got that like cling on, isn't she? Like she's really like latched onto Lily, and she's really like, just beat up the bullies, just do what you like, and she's just tried to really get her feet under the table and ingratiate herself with a lot of the family, which I'd like her to have more scenes with. And I think the person to identify her craziness is Audrey. I don't think Audrey would fall for this. Sweetheart, don't come in trying to destroy my family. I just want Audrey to take her down, but maybe they're waiting for that. Maybe she's going to be introduced later. And also, Audrey was the first person to call out Richard Hillman all those years ago, and everybody thought Audrey was losing her mind. And, Hillman gaslit her like she was a hob. But she knows her wrong. And so, yeah, I'm kind of waiting for Audrey to come along and to kind of expose Jodie. But it is that she reminds me, there's a little bit of B in EastEnders energy as well.
Yeah.
The real latching on. Obviously, they're just very kind of a bit disturbed and a bit lonely. I think B, at the moment, seems more lighthearted, but they are looking to belong somewhere, but they get a little bit intense. So that is escalating very quickly with Jodie, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that, her box of tricks and like which really intrigues me. There's such a selection of items. You know, you've got your USB stick, you've got the lighter, you've got the locket. I mean, it's all going on in there.
Yeah, it's like a sort of weird game show, isn't it? Like what who
You know, that game where you used to have to remove something from the box and then work out what had been removed that you used to play in primary school.
Yeah,
Like
or the generation game, like the conveyor belt at the end. Lock it, USB, cuddly
Yeah.
toy. I think that it's right. Maybe that's going to be an ITV spin-off. Jodie's trinket box.
Or you know, ITV occasionally sell off their old costumes and props. You never know. You might be able to, you know, get your hands on Jodie's loot at some point.
Stephen Mulhern can host the game show version. Yeah, I don't know.
I've seen that she's moving in on David a lot more coming up, and
obviously a Celebrity Big Brother fan.
Wow, probably. I am crossing everything that he does not fall into the trap of being tempted, or, you know, because we've seen it so many times, haven't we? But I think I don't know, I trust in David. Maybe I'm wrong to say this, but I do trust in David.
I do, and as we've determined on this podcast this week, I don't trust anybody, but no, I do trust David. But has it all been a bit? David and Shona are so united because they've had all this drama and trauma with Harper. Hopefully, you know, they're coming through that and she's going to be okay. But they've been such a team, which has been great, and they're a team now. They're facing things together. It would be such a shame,
but you know what,
someone to come along and split them up.
You have just done it now, because I've just thought of it. I've just thought, you know, all it's going to take is Harper gets sick, David gets upset, he has a huge argument with Shona. No, Jodie's there, shoulder to cry on, little drunken smooch. Jodie pretends to be pregnant. You know, it could go on. So now I'm quite excited for that prospect. So I've jinxed it myself now.
Also, I can see Harper like coming through this, you know, this kind of crisis. Then Harper comes home and it's all fine. And then Jodie by this time has gone proper bonkers and she thinks she is Shona and she steals Harper and goes on the run.
Well, we're still, you know, there's still lots of unanswered questions about Jodie. Same with Mal. I mean, the biggest thing, and I've said to you before we started recording, Mal and his wife Alice and how this plot started. I don't understand. Was Alice real? Like, real? Was he catfishing? And if so, why catfishing Roy? Like, I just don't understand where Mal has come from. And is it kind of that he's targeted Bernie or targeted Roy, or is it just complete coincidence?
I thought he targeted Roy, and that's what I thought the story was going to be. And then he doesn't seem to really he's not that bothered about Roy. He's fixed his electrics and whatever. Yeah. He doesn't seem to be. So I guess Alice must be real. I don't know, but why haven't we seen her? That's red flags.
Yeah, it's a bit weird we haven't seen her.
It's deliberate, I think. But and also
they set up that whole backstory, didn't they, about that she had a son in prison, and you know, we were going through our minds thinking like, well, who could her son be? Is it someone we know before?
Yes. So we did wonder, like, someone like Harvey Gaskell or Damon, or, you know, basically who's in prison. So that could still be coming down the line, but it's gone so quickly into this other avenue with Bernie. Is Alice the wife? Is she like in a cupboard somewhere? Is she like, I don't know, her body is still in the house? Like, pray for Alice. If Alice does exist, I don't know whether she's alive, because I think Mal is that creepy and that weird and dangerous.
Yeah, my heart goes out to Bernie so much.
Poor Bernie and Saint Bernie. Oh, don't we love her, Bernadette?
She's so good. I mean, I love Jane Hazelgrove, and I think the episode that was on recently, where it's kind of just focused on her storyline and her grief, was fantastic. I think it was a beautiful portrayal of kind of how grief can affect you and the different ways and the prolonged grief that she had.
Yeah.
And so I think it's been a really interesting turn. I'm glad that she didn't sleep with Mal, because I was really worried they were going to kind of pull the rug out from under us and go, actually, they did sleep together, and you know, we just didn't show you that bit. And I'm hoping that isn't the case, because it doesn't feel like it is, because he's really creeping as if he wants that from her, and really like invading her life. It seems like he's going to start, you know, catering to her interest with crystals and cards and things like that, just to kind of, you know, invade her space. It's just like, back away. And I'm really hoping that someone spots how creepy he's being and kind of, you know, gives him a warning somehow.
Yeah, I feel like Gemini might be, she might be the one to say, get off me, ma'am, get away. But yeah, but then Bernie's trying to keep it all on the down low, isn't she? She doesn't want anyone to know about their kind of link. But yeah, maybe Gemini is the hope here. Because
I'll tell you what she should have done. She should have started leaving really bad reviews on like Checker Trade or whatever he uses. Like 1 star, screwed up the electrics in my house, and then Roy Neville would have hired him.
If only, we could flash forward every week in soaps. If only we could flash back and change what happened. That would just
history.
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But sadly not. We can only flash forward in soaps every other episode, sadly.
Well, we've got so much coming up to find out what is going on with Jodie and Mal, and obviously all the Corrie revelations, which we covered in our special episode yesterday. So do check that out if you haven't seen it already. But we'd love to hear your theories. Like, what is Mal hiding? Is Alice alive? Is she dead? Like, who is she? Jodie, what do you think she's up to? Also, what do you think about Penny being pregnant? Are you happy? Do you like her and Vinny together? And how do you find this new alliance between Cain and Graham? Can you see their friendship lasting the distance? Is it going to upset Liam? What do you think? Is it going to really rile Kim? I think so. Well, join us next time on Soap Scoop. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.